Your morning starts choosing your mood before you realize you gave it permission. The room is still quiet, not peaceful exactly, just quiet. Your eyes open, and for a few seconds, there is this small, empty space before the day has a shape. No messages yet, no headlines, no one asking for anything, no list running through your head. Then your hand reaches for the phone. It happens so naturally that it barely feels like a choice. You tell yourself you are just checking the time, just looking at one message, just making sure nothing important happened. But one message becomes three. A notification becomes a thought. A headline becomes a mood. A short video starts playing before your body has even sat up properly. Someone else is already working. Someone else is already traveling. Someone else is already living a cleaner, brighter, more impressive morning than yours. And now, before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already reacting. You have not opened the curtains. You have not had water. You have not spoken to anyone. You have not even decided what kind of person you want to be today. But your nervous system has already been handed a pile of noise. This is why so much morning advice misses the point. The problem is not that you need a perfect routine. The problem is that many mornings begin with your mood being borrowed by the loudest thing in the room. And if the first thing that touches your mind is pressure, comparison, urgency, or distraction, then the rest of the day starts from that temperature. Think of your morning like an emotional thermostat, not a magic button, not a motivational ritual, just a quiet internal setting that starts getting adjusted the moment you wake up. Some mornings, the thermostat gets turned up by panic, a message you did not expect, a task you forgot, a news story that makes the world feel heavier, a scroll that makes your own life feel strangely behind. Some mornings, it gets turned down by numbness. You lie there, moving from one piece of content to another not because you enjoy it, but because the day feels too heavy to enter. And some mornings, if you protect even a small amount of space, the thermostat begins in a different place. Not perfect, not euphoric, just steadier. That is what this video is about. Not a complicated morning routine, not 10 habits you have to complete before sunrise. Not another list that makes you feel like you already failed by 8 a.m. This is about the first few signals your brain receives and how to stop letting the outside world choose your emotional state before you have even started the day. The first signal is input. Input is whatever your mind receives before it has a chance to stand on its own. For many people, that input is the phone. And the phone is not neutral in the morning. It does not simply show you information. It pulls you into other people's urgency before you have found your own direction. A message tells your body there is something to answer. A notification tells your attention where to go. A headline tells your nervous system what to worry about. A feed tells your brain there are 1,000 lives to compare yours with. None of these things need to be dramatic to change your mood. That is the strange part. You can wake up feeling normal and still feel heavier 10 minutes later without knowing exactly what happened. Nothing terrible occurred. No crisis arrived. You just let too many emotional hands touch the thermostat before you did. This does not mean you need to throw your phone away. It does not mean you need to become extreme. It means your first input matters more than it looks. So the first shift is simple. Give your mind a small buffer before the world enters. Not an hour, not a perfect silent retreat. Just a few minutes where your mind is not immediately available to everyone else. Sit up before you scroll. Put your feet on the floor before you check messages. Drink water before you enter the feed. Open the curtains before you enter the feed. The day has barely started, and their mind is already carrying unfinished tasks, unanswered messages, and vague guilt from yesterday. When that happens, the morning can feel like walking into a room where everything is already asking for something. This is why one tiny completed action can matter. Not because making your bed or washing a cup will transform your life. That would be too simple. It matters because the brain needs evidence that the day is not only happening to you, you can affect it. You can rinse the glass on the counter. You can fold the blanket. You can clear one small space. You can put water into the kettle. You can place your notebook on the table. You can do one thing that begins and ends in less than a minute. The point is not productivity. The point is authorship. There is a difference between waking up and immediately receiving the day and waking up and placing one small mark on it. That small mark tells your nervous system, I am not only reacting today, I can start something. I can finish something. I can create one clean edge before the rest of life gets messy. This is how a morning begins to feel less like being dragged and more like returning to yourself. The third signal is the body. This is the one people ignore because they try to think their way into feeling better. They wake up tired, then immediately start negotiating with the day in their head. What do I need to do? What did I forget? Why do I feel this way? How do I fix my mood? Why am I already behind? But sometimes the mind is not ready for a debate. Sometimes the body needs the first vote. A glass of water, a few slow breaths, light through a window, shoulders moving, feet touching the floor, a short walk to the kitchen without holding a screen. These are not glamorous. They are not content-worthy rituals. But they matter because they tell your brain something very basic. We are awake, we are here, and the day has begun. A body that receives no signal often leaves the mind floating. That is when everything feels vague. You are awake but not really started. You are conscious but not grounded. You are thinking but not moving. The day exists as a cloud of obligations instead of a place you can step into. So before you try to improve your whole mood, give your body one clear signal. Stand where there is light. Drink something before caffeine if you can. Stretch your back. Wash your face. Walk slowly to one fixed point in your home. Do not do it to become a better person. Do it because the mind often calms down after the body receives proof that it is safe to begin. The fourth signal is emotional direction. This is different from a to-do list. A to-do list tells you what has to be done. Emotional direction tells you what kind of state you are trying to protect while doing it. And this matters because many people plan their tasks without planning their nervous system. They know they need to answer emails, finish work, clean something, study, record, drive, meet someone, handle problems, but they never choose the internal posture they want to bring into those things. So the day chooses for them. If the first message is stressful, they become reactive. If the first task feels large, they become tense. If the first delay happens, they become irritated. If someone else is in a bad mood, they absorb it. This is why one simple emotional direction can change the morning. Not a huge affirmation, not a dramatic identity statement, just a quiet phrase that gives the mind a filter. Today, slower. Today, less reactive. Today, one thing at a time. Today, I do not need to rush inside my own head. Today, I protect my attention before I give it away. The words themselves are not magic. The value is that you have given your mind a direction before the world gives it a demand. It is like setting the temperature before the weather changes. The fifth signal is quiet. Not silence forever. Not a perfect, peaceful lifestyle. Just the first small piece of quiet that has not yet been filled by other people's voices. That quiet is easy to waste because it does not look important. It is the sound of water running, the faint light on the wall, the first sip of something warm, the feeling of standing in the kitchen before the day starts asking for performance. Most people skip over that moment because it feels too ordinary. But ordinary is exactly why it helps. Your mind spends so much of the day responding to stimulation that a quiet morning moment can feel almost unfamiliar. Nothing is happening. No one is reacting. No one is measuring you. No one is telling you what to care about. At first, that can feel uncomfortable. You may reach for the phone just to fill the space. You may feel the urge to put something on in the background. You may feel like a quiet minute is wasted because it does not produce anything. But the quiet is doing something. It is letting your mind begin without being pulled. That is a different kind of happiness than excitement. It is not the happiness of entertainment or achievement. It is the quieter happiness of not being hijacked before breakfast. And for many people, that is the real morning reset. Not becoming joyful on command, not forcing gratitude, not pretending life is simple. Just protecting the first few minutes from becoming a doorway for noise. Now, here is the part that matters most. You do not need to do all of this perfectly. In fact, the fastest way to ruin a morning reset is to turn it into another performance you can fail. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, the day is not destroyed. If you forget to drink water, you are not broken. If you only manage one quiet breath before life gets loud, that still counts. The goal is not to build a flawless morning. The goal is to stop letting the first random input of the day decide who you become for the next 12 hours. So tomorrow, do not try to become a completely different person. Try this instead. Before the world enters, create one small moment that belongs to you. Sit up. Breathe once. Touch the floor. Drink water. Look at light. Finish one tiny action. Choose one emotional direction. Protect one quiet minute. That is enough to begin differently. Because the morning does not need to be perfect. It only needs to stop handing your mood to the loudest thing in the room. If this helped you see your mornings differently, like the video and subscribe to Mind Rebuilt for more videos on focus, emotional control, habits, and rebuilding your life one pattern at a time.